Summer transfer window is officially open here in our realistic MLS career mode. We're looking to be a bit more flexible in the way that we approach games over the second half of the season. So we said in the last episode that we could use a centre back and another CDM to allow us to play that 4-2-3-1 formation a little more often. And you guys have been making your suggestions not only here on YouTube but in the Discord channel as well. However, we are already using all 30 of the roster slots allocated to us, so we will have to release or sell one or two players before we're able to bring anybody else in. We do, of course, also need to make sure that we stay compliant with the transfer fee and salary cap restrictions currently placed upon us. We do have a handful of players whose contracts are expiring or who are surplus to requirements, so we have transfer listed Ivacic, Mensah, Arriaga and McNamara. Bobby Wood's deal is also set to expire this year. We do want to hold on to him for the second half of the season, but FC Cincinnati have approached him with a contract for next year. But unfortunately, there is no movement on the transfer front ahead of our first game. We've got 6 games to get to in today's episode. We'll be starting out by quick simming this game against Atlanta. Our featured game of today's episode will be a trip to Lumen Field to take on the Seattle Sounders. We'll also be simming games against Orlando and against Dallas. And you'll see highlights of our away fixture against Philadelphia Union, as well as our MLS Next Pro game, New England Revolution 2, against Inter Miami 2. There's a quick turnaround between this matchup against Atlanta and the match against Seattle coming next. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has rotated the 11 slightly. Farrell comes into the back line alongside Spalding. Buck plays in midfield. Bobby Wood and Barrero start up front. And although Rodrigo got us off to an ideal start, Atlanta equalized shortly after and they took control in the second half. 2 goals just after the break. Brandon By grabbed a consolation, but Atlanta do run out 3-2 winners. And Bobby Wood has indeed agreed terms with FC Cincinnati, so he'll join them when his contract expires. We also have a nice little email about Dwan Jones, though. He's available for selection again. And although Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been working the phones non-stop since the opening of the transfer window, hasn't yet managed to get any deals over the line. So that does bring us to our next and featured game versus the Seattle Sounders, who are having as good a season as Inter Miami right now in the Western Conference. They found themselves top of their particular division, and I believe they have the same points tally at this stage of the season as Inter Miami, so it should be an incredibly tough fixture. Seattle will line up in a pretty standard 4-2-3-1 formation, and they must have built quite a lead at the top of the Western Conference because they've won just 1 game in their last 5. I've seen a handful of Sounders games over the years, so I do recognize a number of these players. The Roldan brothers on the right-hand side. Jordan Morris will, of course, start on the left, and Rui Diaz starts up front. Fortunately, Stefan Fry is injured for this game, so the young backup Thomas will start in goal. As for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 11, Dwan Jones does indeed return to the back line, as do Kessler and Neumann. Brandon By slightly less than match fit starts, as does Leonard Maloney in midfield. Boateng and Bolmer are going to have to start on the wings today. Nacho Hill and Thomas Chonkalai unavailable. Carles Hill starts in centre midfield. Brioni and Rodriguez form the familiar partnership up front. So without further ado, let's head over to Lumen Field and see if we can upset the Seattle Sounders away from home. So we are up in the commentary box at Lumen Field for another inter-conference matchup. We've played very few of those this season. I'm not sure exactly how the MLS fixtures work in terms of matching up against conference opponents and non-conference opponents. Dwan Jones immediately making a good start down the left-hand side, though. Very glad to have him back. Lima has been a decent kind of backup option at left back for us. Spalding, less so. Dwan Jones is clearly better than either of the two. I mean, he's probably better than both of those players put together, to be fair. Rodriguez, can he get in behind early? Yes, he can. There's the pace of the young striker. Immediately in behind. And he puts it wide. That is Luciano Rodriguez. As a player, summarized into about 3 seconds of football right there. Pace to get in behind. Lack of composure to finish. He's been decent for us this season in terms of finishing, in terms of that final product. But we knew that was what we were signing up for when we signed him from Liverpool. Boateng at the back post. Very good effort on the volley. Did really well to control that. Excellent technique. We knew that Rodriguez wouldn't be the best technically, and that we were going to be relying on his physical attributes to make a difference. Can we get that back out to Carlos Hill? Yes, we can. Deliver. Brioni in the box, can't win the header. And it drops to Seattle. And Jordan Morris. Morris, a player I've always looked at in career mode saves. I'm surprised he's never moved to an English club. Maybe not a Premier League club. But I think he'd be exactly the kind of player championship clubs would love to have. Jones away down this left-hand side. Rodriguez again making a good run. And it's been a very, very positive start for us here. We are all over Seattle, who really can't get out of their own half, as Brandon Bai collects and eventually delivers into the box. Again cleared away by Seattle, but it's going to fall to Kessler and Neumann, and we're going to be able to build another attack down this left-hand side, where we've seen a lot of success in the early part of this game, and that is not something I want to see. Leonard Maloney picking up a knock. Not really showing any signs of impact in terms of mobility at the moment, so hopefully that's just one he's going to be able to run off. We are very much looking for an additional centre midfielder in the transfer market. We've had a number of suggestions, not only in the comments of videos, but in the Discord channel as well. And we've got a number of scouts out taking a look at those players. We've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What a save that is. What a save that is. I thought we might be able to take advantage of the fact that Fry is out injured for Seattle, and Thomas is a less than adequate replacement by the looks of it. But he's made an incredible save there. Carlos Hill to deliver the corner. It's a poor one. Cleared away easily. Bulmer on the edge of the box. It's a poor strike with the outside of his right foot when he should have been going with his left. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been negotiating with a number of teams, but we haven't been able to get anything over the line just yet. However, we're very much looking for a centre midfielder to pair with Leonard Maloney. We certainly don't want to have to be replacing Leonard Maloney in this transfer window because of an injury. So we'll check in again on the status of that in just a second. Meanwhile, Seattle. Kessler does well to force them back, but Morris works it into the box and parried away by Tyler Dean at the near post. Rui Diaz with the first opportunity for Seattle. And a very comfortable save for Tyler Dean. You would expect him to make that pretty much every time. And the corner's put into a good area as well. Cleared away, I think, by Bulmer at the back post. And Maloney has indeed run off that injury very, very quickly, so that can't have been anything significant at all. And that's good defensive work again, I think, by Bulmer. Just forcing the shot from the edge of the box. I'm not sure what I think about these Seattle kits. I quite like the colours. Not so sure about the design. MLS has some really cool kit designs. Some pretty unique ones that you don't really see. You know, fairly different to things you would see in England, I would say. Boateng also has pace. That's how we're going to be able to attack Seattle down our left-hand side here. Boateng and Rodriguez pairing up. Both with pretty blistering pace. But Seattle starting to grow into the game now. What a challenge that is by Maloney, though. And it's Brioni's turn to test Seattle in behind. Can he find Rodriguez at the back post? Not quite. Really good play from Brioni. Stretching that Seattle back line. And almost finding his strike partner with that lob to the back post. Really persistent play from Maloney as well. And a good challenge in the end from Kessler. Seattle at the moment don't look like a top of the table side. They certainly don't look like a team that are as dominant as somebody like Inter Miami, who looked really good when we played them. Can Hill turn that into the box? Not quite. But Seattle, we're getting the better of Seattle at the moment, I would certainly say. Good header, Leonard Maloney finds Boateng. One-on-one with the Seattle right midfielder, Roldan. In space to deliver as well. All the way to the back post where Bulmer was lying in wait. And Rui Diaz comes away for Seattle, trying to get a quick break started. We do well just to delay that. And a ball lobbed in behind. Here's Morris. Neumann beaten. It's an excellent back heel from Morris, but Kessler comes across to make the intervention. That might even be... It's not. I thought that might even be a goal kick. The clearance deflecting off a Seattle man, and that is cleared off the line by Bulmer. Bulmer has been incredible defensively. He has made a couple of last-ditch challenges and has cleared that header off the line when it looked certain that Seattle were going to take the lead. It was pretty much a free header in the box. And it was turned towards goal. Tyler Dean beaten, all ends up. Nothing he could do about it from such close range. Quite an incredible clearance off the line from Bulmer, who has made as much of an impact defensively today as he's made going forward all season. DeJuan Jones again has an injury designation. He's only just come back from injury. Potentially he's come back a little too soon. Bulmer. Brandon By in behind. Is he onside? Not quite. That must have been tight. It was a good run from Brandon By. I just couldn't quite get it out of my feet quickly enough. And the Seattle defender was well positioned. And that does mean that Bayer just strayed offside. And I think we need to really try and make this pressure tell before half-time, because Seattle definitely are growing into this game. Good challenge, Kessler. I've pressed A for the tackle. The tackle is complete. I didn't press A again, so I don't understand why it's passing that ball out of play. And that is a rash challenge. DeJuan Jones already labouring with an injury. No sympathy at all from the Seattle man, though. Completely wipes him out. Bulmer, is he onside this time? I think he's just off again. And he is. We are stretching the Seattle back line as Christian Roldan gets a yellow card for that challenge on Jones. We are stretching Seattle. They're playing with quite a high line. And we are making some runs in behind that are testing that defence. Unable to make the pressure tell just yet, but again, we're going to have an opportunity to do so here. Brioni finds Bulmer. Good little run from Carles Heel, who strikes from the edge of the box, and it's another good save by the Seattle goalkeeper. And here's that clearance again off the line from Bulmer. Really, really saving us from conceding. Let's try and put in a slightly better corner this time with Carles Heel, whose shot won the corner in the first place. And that is into a slightly better area. Bulmer lays it off for Boateng. Plenty of time. Goalkeeper parries away. Another good effort and another good save. Boateng had time to pick his spot, so potentially can be disappointed with that effort because it was fairly close to the goalkeeper. And with that amount of time, you'd like to see him tuck it into one of the corners. Bulmer wins the header. Maloney on this right-hand side. It's Vrioni, actually, who's dropped in deep. And it is Bulmer who picks up the ball now, with Vrioni making a run up ahead of him. Bulmer drops it into that channel. Rodriguez in an excellent position in the box. Again saved. What a performance this is by the standing goalkeeper for Seattle. Stefan Fry unavailable. What is this? It's Rodriguez who's on the ground, but I think it's Seattle who have got the free kick, and it is. Stefan Fry unavailable, and I thought that would be a real advantage for us today. But it hasn't proved to be the case. Thomas has performed more than adequately in goal for Seattle. And really we could have 2 or 3 goals here in this first half. As DeJuan Jones is still carrying that injury. Vrioni, can he finally break the deadlock? No! The linesman's flag stays down. Vrioni fails on the first attempt to break the deadlock. Another excellent save by the Seattle goalkeeper, Thomas. A really good touch from Vrioni. Took another one just to settle it. And that was what gave Thomas the time to come out and smother the initial shot. But fortunately, Vrioni finds the ball at his feet once more. And with a completely open goal, makes no mistake, tucks it away on the stroke of half-time. What a season he's had so far, Vrioni. From my understanding, he's been something of a disappointment, and maybe that's an understatement for New England Revolution fans in real life. But that has been far from the case here in this save. 11 goals in 16 games in the MLS. And I'm certain there's a handful of assists there as well, as the referee's halftime whistle does go. And it is a 1-goal lead against the odds for the Revolution at halftime. Against the odds, but certainly not against the run of play. I would say Seattle have had their moments, but I would say we very much had the better of that first half. And DeJuan Jones does not emerge for the second half. Nick Lima emerges instead, as DeJuan Jones is still carrying that injury. So perhaps a little too soon to return for Jones. Solskjaer rushing him back, because he is clearly our best option at left back. But as they say, particularly in the US, it's not really something we say here in England, but the best ability is availability. So if DeJuan Jones is unavailable, it doesn't matter that he's the best option at left back. If he's unavailable, he's immediately the worst option at left back, as Bulmer takes on his man and beats him. Rodriguez with a good run. Early cross from Bulmer, can't quite find him. And it's another good challenge by Leonard Maloney. Can we just clone Leonard Maloney? I wonder if that would be more expensive than, you know, paying a couple of million for another player on the transfer market. Because another Leonard Maloney is exactly what we need. Perhaps that's something for Revs owner Robert Kraft to look into. How much does it cost to loan a player? Because if it's less than 3 million, it's probably going to make more financial sense just to, you know, get some of Leonard Maloney into a Petri dish. I mean, that's going to be time. It's not going to be a time-efficient solution, to be fair. So perhaps not something we can explore. Vrioni doubles the lead. What a good start to this second half. And Vrioni grabs his 12th goal of the campaign now in 16 games. He scored in 75% of his matches on average, which is really quite some achievement. Stoops low to head the ball past the Seattle goalkeeper, who's made a number of good saves today. Perhaps that's the first one he can be a little disappointed by. The positioning, not fantastic. He should be a little closer to that near post for that precise reason. maybe a step or two further off his line as well to narrow the angle at the back post. But regardless, we double our lead early here in the second half. And Seattle do not look anything like a team who should be top of the Western Conference. Rodriguez steals the ball away. Failed to score in the first half, and he's failed to score again here. Lack of composure again, potentially, for Rodriguez. At the very least, a poor decision made. Because again, he emerges completely unmarked into the penalty area after stealing the ball away. And there's Bulmer again. What a shift he has put in today defensively. But Rodriguez can't find the third. It's been a frustrating game for him. Ordinarily, we would see him put at least one of those opportunities away. Big switch of players on. Bulmer just about finds the head of Boateng. Could have put a bit more on it to find either that space in behind him or to drop it onto Boateng's foot. Instead, he had to come in and try and knock it down to Rodriguez. Good defending from Lima. Down the Seattle right. And worked into the box, and guess who? It's Bulmer heading clear. Maybe we just play Bulmer at CDM based on this performance. What a ball that is. What a save that is. Rui Diaz takes the opportunity on early to try and fool Tyler Dean. But Dean more than equal to it. Makes the save with his feet. As Seattle make their first change of the game. I don't think changes will be too far away for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer either. As we do manage to work the corner clear. Brioni back in a defensive position as well. Danger still not completely cleared though. And Bulmer even unable to win the ball back on that occasion. Bit of space for Rui Diaz again. Really good defender from Nick Lima. Just puts the ball out for a throw, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will make a change here. It's actually going to be a double change for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and New England, as Boateng and Carles Gil each leave the field. They are replaced by two defensive midfielders in Kay and Polster. So we will be dropping into a back five for the remainder of the game, trying to protect this 2-goal lead that we have managed to establish. Leonard Maloney will be dropping into the back line. Bulmer away, surrounded by Seattle players though, and can't keep the ball. As Seattle tried desperately to get back into it. A goal would completely change the complexion of this game. It is often said when it's 2-0, the next goal is the most important. Because if Seattle grab it, they're going to be right back in the game. If we grab it, especially here, Bulmer. If we grab it, we completely put the game to bed. Bulmer unable to do so though. Very good effort with his right foot. Goalkeeper would have been equal to it, judging by the replay. But with about 25 minutes left, stoppage time included, we are just trying to see this game out and potentially look to hit Seattle on a quick counter-attack or steal a goal from a set piece or something like that. Obviously a third goal wouldn't be something I would turn my nose up at by any means. But it's not something we're going to press for either. We can just hopefully control the ball, control possession, control the tempo of the game. And that tempo is going to be slow. We need to slow this game down. Rodriguez. It's dropped into a slightly deeper position on that right-hand side. And he wins the free kick. And gets a yellow card for the Seattle man too. I think we are just going to put this ball into the box with Brandon Bye. Rodriguez can't quite win the header. Neither can Kay. Kessler, however, can. Comes right through the back of the Seattle man. But Morris, Rui Diaz, trying to work something for Seattle to grab a goal back here deep into the second half. But we have players behind the ball, one of whom is Kay. He manages to steal that away. Bulmer doesn't release the pass quickly enough. Rodriguez on his right-hand side was in a bit of space. And that's a nice little ball slipped through the lines for Seattle. Morris in the box, lays it back. Receives it once more from his midfield partner. Tyler Dean again equal to it though. Tyler Dean continuing to play well. A fairly inconsistent season so far, I would say, if we are being honest. Brioni, can he grab a hat-trick? Yes, he can! We've seen a number of hat-tricks in recent games, in recent episodes. We've seen one for Luciano Rodriguez, I think, the episode before last. Or in the last episode. We've seen one from Bulmer in the last episode. All of the games all of the episodes are blurring into one now. I'm losing track, but we've seen hat-tricks for Rodriguez, for Bulmer, and now for Vrioni, who has 13 goals in 16 games now in the MLS. Unbelievable tally. And I would guess that he's got at least 3 assists to his name, I would guess, this season. I'm not certain about that, but I would imagine he has at least 3 assists. So he has at least 1 goal contribution per game, if that is the case. Oh, bit of a poor pass from Lima, inviting a little bit of danger. But do you manage to work at 3 through K? And switch the ball out to this right-hand side to Brandon Bye. So we said the next goal is going to be the most important. Fortunately, we are the team to have secured that 3rd goal. And it does very much look like there's no way back for Seattle now, as Bulmer puts a cross into the box. 10 minutes to go in the game. 3 goals down. They had a decent first half, Seattle, creating a handful of decent opportunities. But they've been able to get almost nothing going in this second half. Just that one save from Tyler Dean, really. The only time he's been tested in this second period. And it's been a pretty dominant display, to be honest. Good save again by Tyler Dean. This time from Jordan Morris. Seattle going to make another change or two. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to do the same. Just the one additional change for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer then. Luciano Rodriguez to come off. 2nd round rookie Elliot Newton to come on. We will be featuring highlights of an MLS Next Pro game later in the episode, which actually I think is where Bulmer's hat-trick comes. Spoiler alert. That's why these episodes are running into a blur. I recorded the MLS Next Pro game before this one because it is, of course, in a completely different save. So, spoiler alert, Bulmer gets a hat-trick in that game. But Elliot Newton will be making an appearance in that game as well. But he makes his debut for New England Revolution proper here today. Just gets a 5-10 minute run out at the end of a comfortable victory. So the pressure off. A good situation to make your debut if you are a 2nd round rookie. And that's a really late challenge on Kessler. We're lucky he hasn't picked up an injury from that one. That was poor. And here is Newton. First touch of the ball for New England Revolution. And he gives it away immediately. Not a great start to his Revs career. Thankfully, though, it is away from home. And it is all the way across the country in Seattle, Washington. So I don't imagine many New England Revolution fans are going to have seen that. Can we clear this away at the near post through Lima? We can. And Neumann controls the ball with his back. All right, Ronaldinho. Just like watching Brazil. Bulmer in behind. Really nice pass. Brioni, can he grab 4? He's just going to have to strike from range. I mean, it was on target. He's very low on stamina now as well. Giacomo Brioni. And is that Brioni at the back post? It is, and he gets 4. Utter destruction. Brioni has absolutely put Seattle to the sword here at Lumen Field. 14 goals in 16 games for Giacomo Brioni. He surely must be top of the goal scoring charts after this one. Incredible game for the striker. It was a decent enough header. Very much should be saved though. From pretty much on top of the penalty spot. And Thomas was excellent in the first half. And it very much looked as though we weren't going to be able to take advantage of the fact that Stefan Fry was out for the game, but he couldn't keep up that level of play into the second. And indeed, it has proved to be the case. What a challenge that is. Leonard Maloney is insane defensively. He's so good. And Brioni gets the match ball. They should share a couple of strips off another one for him as well, because he hadn't just got 3 goals rather. He's got the 4. 7 shots on goal. 4 of them find the back of the net. And I think Seattle are very much going to be questioning their place at the top of the Western Conference after this one. They've won just 1 of their last 6 games now. And they've been absolutely soundly destroyed by the New England Revolution. But while Seattle might be doubting themselves now, we surely are going to have a huge boost in confidence after that excellent performance and hopefully build a bit of momentum. We're still very much on the periphery of the playoffs. Thankfully, though, DeJuan Jones has only picked up an injury that will last 5 days. So we should have him back for the next stretch of games. Hopefully some momentum going into those. And hopefully we can really establish ourselves for the first time as a true playoff team. And the momentum continues to build as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finally gets a deal over the line. Szymon Zurkowski arrives from Spezia, a versatile, talented centre midfielder who should offer some additional cover for the back line, but should offer something going forward as well. Zurkowski has high work rates and 85 stamina, so should be able to get up and down the pitch in that 4-2-4 formation. He's also solid enough defensively, so should be an ideal pairing alongside Leonard Maloney in the 4-2-3-1. He arrives for 3 million and we are paying him 5,000 a week, but we do have a bit of space in our salary cap to work with. And you wait forever for a signing and then 2 come along at once. As Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets another deal over the line, this time for a centre-back to bolster that back line alongside Kessler and Phil Neumann. Tomiak is tall, he's strong, he's relatively pacey. Tomiak is 6'4", he is 25 years old. Like Leonard Maloney, he can play centre-back or CDM, and he arrived for just $2.3 million. So between Neumann, Kessler, and Tomiak, we really have the centre of our defence sorted for years to come. Tomiak just 25, Kessler 26, Neumann 27. And that left just enough room in the budget to bring in one final addition. We had our eyes on a centre-back, we had our eyes on a centre midfielder. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, unbeknownst to most, also had his eyes on a striker as Naki Wells arrives from Bristol City for a fee of just $500,000. Wells, of course, is getting on a bit. He's 34 years old, but he still retains a decent amount of that pace that he had as a slightly younger player. Decent enough finishing, but he will just offer a little bit more depth up front going into the second half of the season and something slightly different from our other backup in Bobby Wood. So here is our updated senior roster with the additions of Boris Tomiak, Szymon Zurkowski, and Naki Wells. Our supplemental roster remains largely unchanged, but we are now utilizing all 8 of those allocated international player spots. And in terms of salaries, we are spending a little bit more now. Our total salaries rising to $4.28 million but that is still well under the team's salary cap of $6 million. We do still need to find a home for those players that we have removed from the senior and supplemental rosters. But with that, the squad is pretty much set for the second half of the season. The new arrivals haven't quite had time to bed into the squad just yet, so none of them feature here in our next game against Orlando City. Naki Wells, however, does find a place on the bench. And it is another defeat in the quick sim, another 3-2 defeat at that. Ladero opened the scoring for Orlando City. Rodriguez equalized just after halftime, but it was Ladero again to put Orlando back ahead. Brioni this time equalized, but we couldn't hang on for the last 10 minutes. Janssen won the game for Orlando in the 84th. All three new arrivals will have a chance to impress against Philadelphia Union, though. Tomiak starts in the back line alongside Bai, Neumann, and Jones. Maloney finally gets a partner in Zukovsky, and then the front four is comprised of Chonkalai, Hill, Rodriguez, and Brioni. Naki Wells, again, could come off the bench. And although we were away from home, we started on the front foot in this one. Carles Hill finding Leonard Maloney in the box from a corner early. His header, though, bounced harmlessly wide. But we did open the score, and on the 20-minute mark, Giacomo Vrioni, obviously the man with the goal, but it was Brandon Bai's through ball, slipped through the line, that really made the goal possible. And although Philadelphia started poorly, from that moment on, they pretty much turned into prime Barcelona. We couldn't take the ball from them. Their passes were pinpoint, their off-the-ball runs were incredible, and it was only Tyler Dean's save that kept us in it. And although we made it to half-time with that 1-0 lead, Philadelphia did grab an equalizer after the break. Those off-the-ball runs, like I just mentioned, absolutely tore us apart here, and Flack put it into the back of the net for the leveler. And the second they got the equalizer, Philadelphia were back to playing how they were in the first 20 minutes or so of the game. It didn't stop them from taking the lead about 70 minutes in, though. Fortunately, though, after Rodriguez brought the ball down in the box and his first shot was saved initially by the Philadelphia goalkeeper, Leonard Maloney found him once the rebound had bounced to him outside the area, and Rodriguez tucked it away. Both teams pressed for the win late in the game, and Philadelphia thought they had it, but for Tyler Dean's fantastic point-blank reaction save away to his right-hand side at his near post. And that set the stage for Luciano Rodriguez to grab the winner a minute from time. DeJuan Jones, we are very glad to have him back. He found Rodriguez in the box with a pinpoint cross, and the stooping header gave us a 3-2 victory. So that was a bit of a frustrating one. I normally disregard people who say that there's, scripting and dynamic difficulty and things like that in the game. But it's almost impossible to deny when Philadelphia looked terrible for the first 20 minutes of the game. The instant we took the lead, all of a sudden it was impossible to get the ball from them. Their passes were never misplaced. They just completely turned into a different side. As soon as they got the equalizer, back to how they were at the beginning of the game. But that does bring us to our final MLS game of the episode against FC Dallas with an unchanged 11. And we do finally manage to pick up a point in simulation. Just a point, though. Farrington opened the scoring for Dallas in the first half. Rodriguez leveled things just after the break, and that's how it remained. Every point at this stage of the season is so important, and that win against Philadelphia, that draw against Dallas, could prove to be as important as any. Philadelphia just ahead of us in the table, but we do have a game in hand on each of the teams above us. We are on 36 points. A win in that game in hand could bring us as high as 5th and would put us right in amongst those playoff places. But we'll round out today's episode with that MLS Next Pro fixture against Inter Miami. Kai Whitehead captains the young side, but he has some experience alongside him at the back. Miller to his right is young, but Romney and Spalding, both experienced players, as well as Ravas in goal. Bayraktar Revic pairs with second round rookie Newton, with Nelson just behind them. Bolmer and Barrero man the wings, whilst Wright starts up front. The spoiler alert, this was a wild one. Inter Miami started on the front foot, attacking down their right-hand side and crossing into the box. Robinson headed just wide of Henrik Ravas's far post, however. But 15 minutes into the game, Inter Miami did have the lead. A decent enough passing move on the edge of the box, but poor defending inside the area from Kai Whitehead allowed the Miami striker a little bit of space, and he tucked it neatly away in the far corner. And about 10 minutes later, Inter Miami doubled their lead. The ball bounced around in the box for a short time after a corner, and it fell to Saylor, just inside the box. A really, really solid strike on the half volley with his right foot through bodies and again into the far corner to make it 2. But we would press to get back into the game, and some industrious play by Bulmer down the right-hand side won the ball back in a dangerous area. He pulled it back for Elliot Newton, who arrived in the box just at the right time and who tucked it away. The second-round rookie getting his first goal for New England. And on the stroke of half-time, Bulmer turned from creator to goal scorer, tucking the ball away with a nice little volley on his right foot as he made an inverted run down the right-hand side this time. Really tidy finish. So it was 2-2 going into the halftime break, and the chaos continued after the break as well. Inter Miami again finding themselves in some space inside our penalty area. And again, they make no mistake with the finish. But we've come from 2 goals down to equalise. We do the same here, just a goal down this time. But Elliot Newton again levels the scoring. A header that really should have been saved. It was straight at the goalkeeper, and it was from quite some distance away beyond the penalty spot. The goalkeeper really lets himself down, and it's 3-3. Still, we could not hold on to the lead, however, and Inter Miami again attacked down their right-hand side. They had a lot of success down that particular flank. Cross into the box was initially well saved by Revs, but Campagna was there to tuck in the rebound to make it 4-3. But Bulmer, already with 1 goal to his name in the game, again stole the ball away in a dangerous area. He took it himself this time into the Inter Miami penalty area. Tidy finish past the Inter goalkeeper, and that made it 4-4, leveled the scoring again. And it looked as though Elliot Newton was going to grab a hat-trick to win the game late on. The goalkeeper made a good save, however, but Bulmer was there to grab his hat-trick instead. The 2 forwards vying for that 3rd goal, and it was Bulmer that got it. So a pretty wild game for New England Revolution 2's manager to oversee, but a very, very entertaining one for the handful of people that turned out to watch. And we've already seen first-round rookie Tyler Dean making a difference for the first team, and with a performance like that, potentially Newton will be stepping up into the MLS before too long as well. Not such a great performance from Kai Whitehead, however, he was at fault for at least 1, maybe 2 of the Inter Miami goals. So we have Rioni and Rodriguez scoring goals for fun. We have a handful of new arrivals at the club, and we have some young players really starting to step up. So hopefully those things can coalesce in the next episode and drive us on towards a playoff place at the end of season 1. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.